Unbelievable. Wait until you see how this horse reacts to his favorite guard. The morning sun had just begun to spread its golden light over the countryside. The air was fresh, carrying the faint scent of hay, soil, and wildflowers from the surrounding fields. Birds chirped energetically from the trees near the stable, as if announcing the start of another peaceful day. Among the tall, weathered wooden stalls lived a horse named Thunder. He was a majestic animal, with a shiny chestnut coat that glimmered in the sunlight and a mane that fell gracefully along his strong neck. From the moment he was born, he had been gentle and intelligent, curious about everything around him, yet cautious when meeting new people. Thunder's stable was part of a small farm where visitors often came to enjoy the fresh air and watch the horses graze in the open fields. Every day, the staff cared for the animals meticulously. They fed them early in the morning, brushed their coats until they gleamed, cleaned the stalls, and led them out to exercise. Each worker had their own way of handling the horses, but there was one young man who stood out in Thunder's eyes, Alex, one of the stable guards. Alex was a kind, patient young man with a calm demeanor. He had joined the farm a few months earlier and quickly earned the trust of all the horses, but none seemed to connect with him as much as Thunder did. On Alex's first day, he had been nervous and unsure, walking slowly along the rows of stalls, trying not to startle any of the animals. Thunder, who had been observing from the corner of his stall, lifted his head and watched quietly. There was something different about Alex, a gentle energy that Thunder could feel immediately. When Alex extended his hand slowly, Thunder hesitated for a moment, then cautiously stepped closer. That small act of trust marked the beginning of a bond that would grow stronger every day. At first, the other workers didn't notice anything unusual. Horses often approach staff, especially those who were calm and confident. But over the days, it became clear that Thunder's attachment to Alex was special. While other horses would nuzzle or follow the guards when led around, Thunder did something more. He would watch Alex constantly, tracking his movements and often trotting a little ahead as if to guide him. When Alex called his name softly, Thunder's ears would flick forward, his eyes lighting up with recognition. It was almost as if he understood Alex better than any human could. Visitors who came to the farm sometimes saw this unusual behavior and were amazed. One afternoon, a family approached the paddock while Thunder and Alex were walking together. Thunder, who had been grazing calmly with the other horses, immediately lifted his head and trotted toward Alex, ignoring the presence of strangers completely. The little children's eyes widened in surprise, and even their parents whispered in admiration. "Look at that horse. He seems to know him so well," one of them said, pointing. Alex smiled and patted Thunder gently, feeling a quiet pride and a touch of wonder himself. Thunder's days began to revolve around Alex. When the young guard arrived in the morning, Thunder would often wake slightly earlier than usual, stretching his legs and shaking his mane as though eager to greet him. He would whinny softly, a sound that was more of a greeting than a call, and step closer to the stall gate, watching as Alex approached with his bucket of oats. Alex, in return, always spoke to Thunder softly, scratching behind his ears and along his strong neck. The routine was simple, but it was filled with a warmth that could be felt by anyone nearby. One quiet afternoon, Alex decided to lead Thunder into the paddock for a bit of exercise. Other horses were already roaming freely, but Thunder stayed close, walking alongside Alex with a calm confidence that seemed almost human. As they moved through the field, Alex talked to Thunder about the farm, the chores, and even the people who came to visit. It might have seemed odd to an outsider, but Thunder listened intently, occasionally flicking his ears or giving a gentle nudge when Alex paused to adjust his grip on the reins. The connection was clear. Thunder not only trusted Alex, but enjoyed his company in a way that made their companionship special. The bond wasn't just visible to the staff, it was noticeable in the way Thunder behaved throughout the day. He often waited near the stable entrance, watching the path where Alex would appear. Even when other horses called for attention, Thunder seemed to have an unspoken understanding that Alex's presence mattered the most. Sometimes visitors would ask Alex why Thunder behaved this way, and he would simply smile, shrugging slightly. "I think he just likes me," he would say softly, but deep down, he knew it was more than just liking. It was a connection that went beyond words, a silent communication built on trust, patience, and mutual respect. One chilly morning, the farm was covered in a thin layer of frost. Alex arrived early to prepare the stables, and as usual, Thunder was waiting near the gate. The horse's breath formed small clouds in the crisp air, and his eyes glimmered with curiosity and recognition. Alex approached slowly, holding out his hand, and Thunder nuzzled it gently, a small but meaningful gesture of trust. The bond between them was no longer a quiet observation. It had become a living story, unfolding with each simple act of care, attention, and shared time. As weeks passed, the relationship between Alex and Thunder continued to grow. Other workers began to notice small details. Thunder would often mirror Alex's movements, walking when he walked, stopping when he stopped, and even responding to subtle gestures like a tilt of the head or a gentle hand motion. It was clear that Thunder was paying attention, not just to the physical movements, but to the energy Alex brought with him. There was a rhythm in their interactions, almost like a dance, where each knew what the other would do next without needing to speak. Despite the many visitors who came to see the horses, Alex and Thunder often shared quiet moments alone in the paddock. Sometimes they would simply stand side by side, watching the clouds drift lazily across the sky. Thunder's ears would twitch at the slightest sound, but he seemed to sense that Alex's presence made the world feel safe and familiar. These peaceful moments became the foundation of a friendship that would surprise everyone who witnessed it. Even Alex was amazed at the bond they shared. He had cared for horses before, but he had never experienced a connection like this. It was not just a matter of handling or training, it was something deeper. Thunder seemed to understand Alex's moods and emotions, responding with gentle nudges when he sensed frustration and soft whinnies when he sensed happiness. Alex found himself looking forward to every visit to the stable, not just because of his responsibilities, but because of the joy of spending time with Thunder, who had become more than a horse. He had become a companion, a friend, and a silent teacher of patience and trust. By the end of the month, the story of Thunder and Alex had begun to spread among the small farming community. Neighbors would stop by, curious to see the horse that had a favorite guard. Each time they would witness the same remarkable sight. A majestic chestnut horse moving gracefully beside a young man, ears flicking in recognition, eyes bright with intelligence and affection. It was a reminder to everyone that sometimes, connections in life can be found in the most unexpected places, and the bond between humans and animals can be incredibly powerful, even without words. Thunder and Alex's friendship had started quietly in a small corner of the stable, but it was growing into something extraordinary. It was a story of trust, patience, and the gentle understanding that sometimes the most meaningful relationships are the ones that cannot be explained, only felt. And as the sun set over the fields each evening, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink, Thunder would stand near the gate, waiting for Alex, ready to share another day of quiet companionship. A day filled with small gestures, soft sounds, and the warmth of a friendship. Unlike any other, over the following weeks, the bond between Alex and Thunder continued to grow stronger, and it became impossible for anyone at the farm to ignore. Thunder had already shown signs of attachment, but now his behavior began to display an almost remarkable level of understanding. He didn't just respond to Alex's presence, he seemed to anticipate his actions. Every day, the horse would watch the stable entrance with patient anticipation, waiting for the familiar footsteps that signaled Alex's arrival. As soon as Alex appeared, Thunder's whole demeanor changed. His ears perked forward, his tail lifted slightly, and he would nicker softly in greeting, a sound filled with recognition and joy. It wasn't just the way Thunder greeted him that was extraordinary. Even during routine tasks, their connection was visible in the smallest gestures. When Alex approached with a brush in hand, Thunder would step closer, lowering his head in quiet acceptance. The horse would shift his weight slightly to present the spots that needed attention, as if he knew exactly what Alex intended. Other workers had often seen horses resist brushing, tug at the reins, or fidget in impatience. But Thunder never did. His cooperation was complete, yet it carried a sense of willing participation, an eagerness to engage with Alex rather than just obey him. The bond also revealed itself during feeding times. Thunder had always enjoyed oats and apples, but over time, it became clear that he valued Alex's attention more than anything else. Even when other staff members brought food, Thunder would wait until Alex arrived. If he appeared late, the horse would stand near the gate, shifting his hooves slightly, whinnying in soft encouragement, as if reminding Alex that it was time. Visitors who witnessed this often expressed astonishment. "It's almost like he knows who matters the most," one woman remarked, her eyes wide with amazement. Alex, however, remained humble, patting Thunder gently and whispering reassuring words, feeling a quiet pride in the silent connection they shared. One chilly morning, Alex decided to take Thunder out for a longer walk beyond the usual paddock. The air was crisp, and the frost still clung to the edges of the grass. The farm was quiet, except for the occasional bird call and the soft crunch of hooves against the frozen ground. As they walked side by side, Alex began talking about the history of the farm, telling Thunder stories about how it had been passed down through generations, the struggles and triumphs of the animals, and even little anecdotes about visitors from the past. Thunder listened attentively, ears flicking occasionally at the sound of Alex's voice. When he reached a small hill overlooking the fields, Thunder paused and looked out over the landscape, standing quietly as if understanding the importance of the moment. It wasn't long before other staff began noticing patterns in Thunder's behavior that were unusual even for a well-trained horse. For instance, he seemed to understand Alex's moods intuitively. If Alex approached feeling tired or stressed, Thunder would move slowly, staying close and offering a gentle nudge as though to offer comfort. On days when Alex was cheerful or playful, Thunder would respond in kind, moving with light, graceful steps and occasionally tossing his head in what seemed like playful energy. This understanding went beyond simple training. It was as if Thunder could feel emotions and respond with empathy, something that fascinated the farm staff and visitors alike. One afternoon, a small group of children visited the farm as part of a school trip. The children were excited to see the horses up close, and the teachers allowed them to feed the animals under supervision. While most of the horses accepted food politely, Thunder displayed his usual preference for Alex. The children approached with small carrots, but Thunder ignored them, waiting patiently until Alex appeared. When Alex held out a carrot himself, Thunder accepted it gently from his hand, munching slowly while maintaining eye contact, a gesture that seemed to convey trust and recognition. The children giggled and whispered among themselves, amazed at the evident connection between the boy and the horse. Over time, Thunder also began to anticipate Alex's needs during routine tasks around the stable. When the day's chores began, Thunder would sometimes move closer to Alex, positioning himself in a way that made it easier for the young guard to lead him to the paddock or the grooming area. If Alex bent down to tie a boot or pick up a bucket, Thunder would remain still, waiting patiently, sometimes lowering his head in a quiet show of cooperation. It was not obedience in the strict sense. It was a shared understanding, a silent communication that spoke volumes about their trust. The farm itself seemed to come alive with the energy between them. Visitors often remarked that there was something special about Thunder's calm yet alert presence, and the way Alex interacted with him only enhanced the effect. They moved with a quiet grace, side by side, almost as though they were performing a dance perfected over time. Horses nearby would often pause to watch them, drawn to the unusual harmony that existed between human and animal. Other staff members sometimes joked that Thunder was Alex's shadow, a loyal companion who followed him everywhere, but behind the humor was an undeniable truth. The horse and the young guard shared a bond that went far beyond ordinary care or routine. One late afternoon, the farm manager decided to test the depth of Thunder's attachment to Alex. He asked another staff member, Emma, to try and lead Thunder into a different paddock while Alex attended to other chores. Thunder hesitated almost immediately. He stamped his hooves softly, shifting uneasily, and his ears flicked back in uncertainty. Emma gently tried to coax him forward, speaking softly and offering food, but Thunder remained resistant. Sensing the horse's discomfort, Emma called for Alex, who approached calmly, his presence immediately changing the atmosphere. Thunder relaxed as soon as Alex arrived, walking beside him willingly, ears forward, eyes bright with recognition and relief. It was a small demonstration, but it left everyone watching in quiet awe. Thunder's behavior was not just a source of fascination, it became a teaching moment for the farm staff. Alex's patience, gentleness, and understanding highlighted the importance of empathy in working with animals. It was not just about feeding or grooming. It was about communication, trust, and respecting the intelligence of the creature before you. Thunder responded to Alex in ways that went beyond training. He responded to the kindness, consistency, and calm energy that Alex provided. This bond reminded everyone that animals are capable of forming deep emotional connections, and that the relationships we cultivate with them can be as meaningful as those we have with other humans. As the weeks turned into months, Thunder's attachment to Alex became more than routine. It became a daily highlight of the farm's life. Visitors would often arrive specifically to see the horse with the favorite guard, and each time they witnessed the same remarkable display of trust and connection. Thunder would trot to greet Alex, whinny softly, and even nudge him gently for attention or treats. These moments were filled with quiet emotion, small gestures that carried immense meaning. People often left the farm with a sense of wonder, talking about the bond they had seen and the gentle, loyal horse who seemed to understand more than any human might expect. Alex, for his part, often reflected on the uniqueness of the relationship. He understood that it was rare for a horse to display such consistent preference and understanding for one person, and he felt a deep responsibility to honor that trust. He spent time with Thunder each day, not just during chores, but in quiet moments of companionship, walking together in the paddocks, sitting near the fields, and speaking softly as if sharing thoughts only Thunder could understand. Those moments were simple, but they were full of warmth, connection, and mutual respect. It was during one of these quiet evenings that Alex realized just how extraordinary their friendship had become. The sun was low in the sky, casting long, golden shadows across the paddocks. Thunder stood beside him, ears flicking in gentle awareness, eyes soft but bright. Alex ran his hand along the horse's mane, feeling the warmth of his strong body and the calm strength that Thunder exuded. He knew that their connection was built not just on time spent together, but on understanding, patience, and genuine care. It was a reminder that some friendships, even those between humans and animals, could be profound, enduring, and transformative in ways that words could never fully capture. By the end of the month, the story of Thunder and Alex had become something of a legend within the local community. Neighbors and visitors came to see the remarkable bond firsthand. They watched as Thunder followed Alex with quiet loyalty, responded to his gestures with subtle intelligence, and displayed a level of trust that was rare and beautiful. It was a living example of how patience, empathy, and kindness could create connections that transcend species, a story that inspired everyone who witnessed it. Through it all, Thunder remained gentle, curious, and loyal, a horse whose heart and mind were clearly attuned to the young guard who had earned his trust. Alex, in turn, remained humble, dedicated, and patient, understanding that the bond they shared was precious and unique. Together, they became more than a man and a horse. They became a team, friends, and a reminder of the extraordinary possibilities that can emerge when kindness and trust are at the heart of any relationship. As the days passed, the bond between Thunder and Alex grew even deeper. Their connection had already begun to surprise and inspire everyone at the farm, but what happened next would prove just how remarkable it truly was. It was a cool morning, and the sun was only beginning to rise, painting the sky in soft shades of pink and orange. The farm was quiet, except for the occasional call of birds and the gentle rustle of leaves in the wind. Thunder was already awake, stretching his long legs and shaking his mane, his eyes scanning the stable for the familiar figure of Alex. Alex arrived a little later than usual that morning, carrying his usual bucket of oats and a brush. As soon as Thunder caught sight of him, his ears flicked forward and a soft whinny escaped his throat. He stepped closer to the gate, stamping his hooves lightly in excitement. Alex smiled at the sight, feeling a warmth spread through him. He had grown used to this daily greeting, but it never failed to make him feel appreciated and welcomed. Every morning it felt as though Thunder was saying, "I'm glad you're here. You're my person." After feeding Thunder and brushing him carefully, Alex led him out to the paddock. The grass was still damp with morning dew, and Thunder's hooves left soft prints in the earth as he walked. Today, Alex had a small challenge planned. The farm manager had asked him to take Thunder to a new training area farther away than usual. It was a simple task on paper, but Alex knew that Thunder was sensitive to changes in routine. He spoke to the horse in a calm, steady voice, explaining in his own way where they were going and what they would do. Thunder listened attentively, ears flicking, eyes following Alex's every movement. As they walked toward the new area, Thunder's steps became a little hesitant. The terrain was different, with uneven ground and scattered rocks. He slowed down, shifting his weight and looking around as though unsure about what lay ahead. Alex noticed the hesitation immediately. He stopped and crouched slightly, placing a reassuring hand on Thunder's strong neck. "It's okay, buddy. I'm right here. We'll take it slow," he said softly. Thunder nickered in response, leaning into Alex's touch as if drawing courage from his presence. The trust between them was evident in that simple moment, unspoken but powerful. Once they reached the training area, Alex began leading Thunder through the small course of gentle obstacles. The task was designed to test the horse's focus and obedience, but for Thunder, it became a demonstration of trust and communication. He moved carefully, listening to Alex's cues, responding to subtle gestures, and occasionally looking up at Alex for guidance. Whenever Thunder showed signs of hesitation, Alex would slow down, speak gently, and offer encouragement. The horse would then continue, each step a quiet act of confidence in his handler. Visitors who happened to be watching from the side gasped softly at the sight. It was clear to everyone that this was no ordinary horse. Thunder seemed to understand Alex in a way that went far beyond commands or training. After finishing the small course, Alex decided to test Thunder's loyalty in a slightly different way. He asked another staff member, Emma, to try leading the horse into a separate enclosure while he pretended to walk away. Thunder hesitated immediately. He stamped his hooves lightly, shifting uneasily, his ears flicking back in uncertainty. Emma gently tried to coax him forward, speaking softly and offering treats, but Thunder remained reluctant. He turned his head frequently, glancing in the direction where Alex had walked, clearly concerned and confused. Alex noticed the hesitation from a distance and decided to approach slowly. As he got closer, Thunder's body relaxed visibly. His ears perked forward, his tail swished gently, and he walked confidently toward Alex, ignoring the other staff members' attempts to redirect him. Once by Alex's side, Thunder nudged him gently, nuzzling his shoulder as if to say, "I'm glad you're here. I trust you." Emma looked on, amazed, realizing that the bond between Alex and Thunder was stronger than she had ever imagined. The rest of the morning passed with small but meaningful moments that continued to demonstrate their unique connection. As Alex groomed Thunder, he noticed the horse watching his hands intently, seemingly aware of every motion. Thunder would lift his head when Alex approached certain areas, lower it when he needed to, and sometimes shift slightly to make grooming easier. It was not obedience in the usual sense. It was cooperation, communication, and mutual understanding. Alex often marveled at the intelligence and sensitivity that Thunder displayed. He spoke softly to him as he worked, sometimes sharing stories about his family, the farm, or even silly anecdotes from earlier in the week. Thunder listened, ears flicking, eyes bright, and sometimes responding with gentle whinnies, nudges, or small movements. Later that afternoon, a group of visitors arrived at the farm. Among them was a young boy who had never been close to a horse before. Alex noticed that the boy was nervous, standing hesitantly near the fence, unsure of how to approach. He knelt down slightly and whispered to Thunder, "Be gentle, buddy. Let's show him how friendly you can be." Thunder responded immediately, walking slowly toward the boy, head low and eyes soft. He allowed the boy to reach out and touch his nose, and even nudged him lightly with his muzzle in a reassuring gesture. The boy's face lit up with joy, and Alex smiled, proud of the gentle, intuitive nature of his companion. That evening, after the visitors had left and the farm was quiet again, Alex and Thunder shared a moment of calm together. They stood in the paddock, side by side, watching the sun dip below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Alex ran his hand along Thunder's mane, feeling the warmth of his strong body and the steady rhythm of his breathing. He thought about how far they had come, from the first hesitant interaction to this deep, trusting bond. Thunder shifted slightly, leaning gently into Alex's hand, as if acknowledging the special connection they shared. The following day brought another surprise. Thunder began demonstrating behaviors that went beyond simple recognition or attachment. He started anticipating Alex's movements even before they happened. If Alex reached for the bridle, Thunder would lift his head and tilt it slightly, preparing himself. If Alex bent down to pick up a bucket, Thunder would remain still, his hooves planted firmly, waiting patiently. Even small gestures like a hand wave or a change in tone of voice were enough for Thunder to respond appropriately. It was clear that he had not only learned from Alex, but had developed an understanding of his habits, moods, and intentions. Other staff and visitors continued to marvel at the pair. They often commented on the almost magical way Thunder seemed to communicate with Alex without words. There were moments when the horse would glance at Alex, ears flicking, eyes bright, and it was as if he were asking a question or seeking approval. Alex would respond with a soft touch, a quiet word, or a gentle smile, and Thunder would immediately understand, moving or acting in accordance with that silent communication. It was a partnership built on mutual respect and empathy, and it inspired everyone who saw it. One particularly memorable afternoon, Alex decided to let Thunder roam a little freely in a large field near the farm. Thunder galloped gracefully, enjoying the space and freedom, but he never strayed far from Alex's side. Whenever Alex moved, Thunder adjusted his pace accordingly, keeping a steady rhythm that matched his companion's steps. Visitors who watched could hardly believe their eyes. It was rare to see such harmony between human and horse, a dance of trust, patience, and understanding that seemed almost choreographed. By the end of the week, the story of Thunder's loyalty and intelligence had spread even further. Local newspapers and online communities began to take notice, sharing images and stories of the horse and his favorite guard. People were fascinated by the unique relationship, amazed that an animal could display such clear recognition, empathy, and preference. Alex, however, remained humble. He often reminded everyone that the bond was built over time, through patience, kindness, and simple, consistent care. It was a quiet lesson in empathy, patience, and the rewards of genuine connection. Thunder, meanwhile, remained his gentle, curious self. He continued to follow Alex wherever he went, responding to his gestures, anticipating his movements, and offering subtle signs of affection and trust. Their relationship had moved beyond simple companionship. It was a deep, emotional connection, filled with moments of quiet understanding, playful interaction, and mutual care. And as the sun set each evening, casting long shadows across the paddocks, Thunder would always stand near Alex, ready for the next day of trust, communication, and shared experiences. It was becoming clear to everyone at the farm that the connection between Thunder and Alex was something extraordinary. It was not just a story of a horse with a favorite guard. It was a story of patience, empathy, and the power of understanding across species. Through every gesture, every nuzzle, every soft whinny, Thunder and Alex were teaching a quiet but powerful lesson. That trust and kindness can create bonds that transcend words, and that even the simplest acts of care can grow into something truly remarkable. The bond between. Alex and Thunder had grown stronger with each passing day. But it was during one particular afternoon that the depth of their connection became truly remarkable. The sun was shining warmly in a clear blue sky, and a gentle breeze rustled through the leaves surrounding the paddocks. The farm was busy, with staff going about their daily tasks and visitors exploring the fields, but Alex had planned a quiet moment for himself and Thunder. He wanted to spend time in the open field beyond the stable, a space where Thunder could move freely, explore, and enjoy the fresh air without the usual constraints of the paddock. As Alex approached the field, Thunder was already waiting near the gate, ears perked, eyes scanning for the familiar figure of his favorite guard. As always, the horse moved forward the moment Alex appeared, his gait light, almost joyful. Alex smiled, feeling the warmth of their connection in the simplest of gestures, a nuzzle, a soft whinny, and a subtle swish of the tail. Today, Alex decided to do something different. He wanted to test not Thunder's obedience, but his understanding, trust, and loyalty in a situation slightly out of the ordinary. Alex led Thunder to the center of the field and then stopped. He crouched slightly, patting the ground with his hand. "It's just us, buddy," he said softly. Thunder lowered his head, ears flicking, waiting for instructions. Alex then stepped a few paces away and turned his back to the horse. Normally, Thunder would stay close, but today he hesitated. He looked at Alex, ears slightly back, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. Alex knew that Thunder was sensing something different, something that wasn't part of their usual routine. He remained calm, speaking softly and gently. "I'm right here. You don't need to worry." The next moment was extraordinary. Thunder moved slowly, almost cautiously, taking a few steps away from Alex. He stopped, glanced back, and then continued, a quiet determination in his eyes. Alex's heart swelled with pride and affection. This was not just a test of trust. It was a demonstration of understanding. Thunder wasn't following blindly. He was observing, analyzing, and choosing to remain close because he wanted to, not because he had to. Every muscle in Thunder's body displayed alertness and intelligence. He walked calmly, ears rotating to catch sounds, eyes scanning the surroundings, but always keeping Alex within sight. As they reached the far end of the field, a small group of visitors who had wandered near watched in amazement. They were drawn to the quiet intensity of the moment. The way a majestic chestnut horse moved with grace and attentiveness toward a young man who had become his world. Thunder's gentle nicker, the subtle flick of his tail, and the steady, calm steps he took beside Alex were captivating. It was clear to everyone watching that this was no ordinary horse and handler. There was something unique, something special, in the way they communicated without words. Suddenly, a loud noise came from the edge of the field. A farm vehicle had started unexpectedly, its engine growling and tires crunching over the gravel. Thunder startled, lifting his head quickly and stepping backward. His ears flattened briefly and his muscles tensed. But in the same instant, Alex moved forward calmly, raising his hand and speaking softly in a soothing voice. "It's okay, buddy. I'm right here. Nothing will hurt you." Thunder froze for a moment, and then, as if reassured by the calm energy radiating from Alex, he relaxed. He took a slow step forward, then another, and returned to his companion's side. The display was remarkable, showing not only Thunder's intelligence, but also the depth of the trust he had in Alex. After the moment of tension passed, Alex decided to let Thunder roam a little more freely. The horse galloped with controlled energy across the field, ears flicking, nostrils flaring, mane flowing in the breeze. Yet, despite his excitement, he never wandered too far. He returned repeatedly to Alex's side, sometimes nudging him gently with his nose or nuzzling his shoulder. Visitors who had been watching were astonished. One woman whispered to her friend, "I've never seen a horse act like that. He's almost thinking." Alex smiled quietly, knowing that the observation was not far from the truth. Thunder wasn't just reacting. He was understanding, connecting, and choosing to stay close to someone he trusted completely. As the afternoon wore on, Alex and Thunder found a quiet spot under a large oak tree. The shade was cool and inviting, a perfect place to rest. Alex sat on the grass, brushing his hands slowly along Thunder's mane. The horse lowered his head and stood quietly, relaxed but alert. Alex spoke softly, sharing stories about his family, the farm, and even the small adventures of the past few weeks. Thunder listened attentively, eyes bright, occasionally shifting his weight, flicking his ears, or whinnying softly in response. The quiet companionship was a gentle reminder that some friendships do not need words to express their depth. It was during this peaceful moment that an unexpected situation occurred. A young child had wandered close to the field, curious about Thunder. The child was unsteady on his feet, and the horse noticed immediately. Thunder turned slightly, ears forward, and stepped slowly toward Alex, who recognized the concern in his companion's behavior. "It's okay, buddy," Alex whispered. "Stay calm." Thunder moved slowly, positioning himself between the child and potential danger, while keeping his focus on Alex's guidance. He didn't act aggressively. Instead, he demonstrated a gentle protective instinct, a subtle awareness that reflected both intelligence and care. The child's parents arrived moments later, grateful and surprised by the gentle intervention. "That horse he was protecting my son," the father exclaimed. Alex knelt and patted Thunder gently. "He's very smart and very kind," he said softly. Thunder nuzzled Alex's hand, ears flicking, as if acknowledging the praise while also reminding him that their trust and understanding were mutual. It was a quiet moment, but one that showcased the unique, almost human-like awareness Thunder possessed. The rest of the afternoon continued with small but meaningful interactions. Thunder and Alex walked together through the open fields, occasionally stopping to observe the other horses grazing or playing. Thunder would sometimes trot ahead, then returned quickly to Alex's side as though checking in. He responded to subtle gestures, soft words, and even the direction of Alex's gaze. Visitors watched in awe as the pair moved with quiet grace, each step demonstrating not just a horse following a handler, but a living, breathing partnership built on respect, empathy, and trust. As the sun began to lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the farm, Alex and Thunder returned to the stable. The horse moved calmly, aware that the day was ending, yet still attentive and engaged. He allowed Alex to groom him, brushing his coat carefully, checking his hooves, and speaking softly to reassure him. Thunder responded with quiet acceptance, sometimes nuzzling Alex or lowering his head in trust. The bond between them had become something extraordinary, more than companionship, more than friendship. It was a deep, emotional understanding that transcended words. That evening, as the last visitors left the farm and the stable grew quiet, Alex reflected on the day's events. He thought about the way Thunder had reacted to the unexpected noise, the protective behavior toward the child, and the countless small moments of understanding and trust that had occurred throughout the afternoon. Alex realized that what they shared was rare. It was not just about training, care, or daily routine. It was about a connection that could only grow through patience, kindness, and genuine empathy. Thunder had become more than a horse to him. He had become a true companion, a friend, and a silent partner in every moment of daily life. As night fell, Alex led Thunder back into his stall. The horse nuzzled his hand one last time before settling down comfortably in the straw. Alex smiled, feeling a sense of calm and fulfillment. He knew that tomorrow would bring more opportunities to deepen their bond, to experience new adventures, and to continue learning from each other. Thunder had taught him patience, empathy, and the power of quiet trust. In return, Alex had provided guidance, protection, and friendship. Together, they had created a connection that was extraordinary in its simplicity and profound in its depth. The farm staff often remarked on the almost magical relationship between Alex and Thunder. They had witnessed moments of understanding, loyalty, and intelligence that seemed beyond what most people expected from a horse. Visitors left with stories to tell, inspired by the gentle bond and mutual respect that existed between human and animal. And through it all, Thunder remained humble, gentle, and attentive, a living example of the remarkable things that can happen when trust, patience, and care are at the heart of a relationship. By the end of that week, the story of Thunder's loyalty and protective nature had spread even further. People from nearby towns came to see the horse who seemed to understand and care for his favorite guard in ways that were almost human. Alex continued to approach every day with humility, recognizing that their bond was built slowly, through consistent care and quiet understanding. And as the sun set over the farm each evening, casting its golden light over the paddocks, Thunder would stand near Alex, calm, attentive, and ready to share another day of connection, trust, and companionship. The bond between Alex and Thunder had grown over months into something extraordinary, something that could be seen and felt by anyone who spent even a short time on the farm. It wasn't just a relationship built on care or routine. It was a deep friendship, a silent understanding, and an unspoken loyalty that made both of their lives richer. By this point, visitors from near and far had heard about the remarkable chestnut horse and his favorite guard, and many came specifically to witness the bond firsthand. On a bright morning, Alex arrived at the stable as usual. Thunder was already waiting near the gate, his chestnut coat shining in the early sunlight, mane flowing slightly in the breeze. The horse's ears flicked forward, and a soft whinny escaped his throat as soon as he saw Alex. Today, however, there was something different in the air. Alex had planned a special day for Thunder, a day of exploration beyond the familiar paddocks, a day to see new areas of the farm that they had never visited together. He hoped it would be a fun and enriching experience for both of them. As they walked toward the new area, Thunder moved with his usual calm confidence, yet there was a noticeable excitement in his gait. His eyes scanned the surroundings with curiosity, nostrils flaring slightly as he took in new smells and sounds. Alex spoke softly to him throughout, explaining in his own words where they were going and what they might see. Thunder responded with quiet attentiveness, ears flicking toward Alex whenever he spoke, stepping carefully over small stones or uneven patches of ground. It was clear that the horse trusted Alex completely, relying on his guidance while still enjoying the freedom of exploration. Soon, they reached a wide open field bordered by tall trees and dotted with wildflowers. The grass was soft under Thunder's hooves, and the air carried the faint scent of fresh earth and blooming flowers. Alex unclipped the lead rope, allowing Thunder to roam freely within the safe boundaries of the field. Thunder galloped in joyful loops, mane flowing, ears twitching, eyes bright. Yet no matter how far he ran, he always returned to Alex's side, nuzzling him gently or rubbing his head against Alex's shoulder as a sign of affection. Visitors who happened to be nearby stopped in awe, watching the remarkable connection between horse and human. As the day progressed, Alex noticed more of Thunder's intelligence and emotional sensitivity. When a group of visitors approached the field, Thunder paused, ears flicking, and observed them carefully. He did not react with fear or aggression. Instead, he stayed calm, looking toward Alex for guidance. Alex knelt slightly and spoke softly. "It's okay, buddy. They're just visitors." "Stay calm." Thunder relaxed immediately, walking calmly beside Alex, showing that he understood the situation perfectly. The visitors were amazed at the horse's behavior, whispering among themselves about the gentle, intelligent creature they were witnessing. Later, Alex decided to climb a small hill at the edge of the field to get a better view of the farm. Thunder followed closely, stepping carefully and deliberately over the uneven terrain. When they reached the top, the view was breathtaking. The farm stretched below them, fields of green, winding paths, and the stable in the distance bathed in sunlight. Thunder paused and looked around, ears flicking, eyes bright with curiosity. Alex ran his hand along Thunder's mane, feeling the warmth and strength beneath his fingers. In that quiet moment, they stood together, enjoying the simple beauty of the world around them. It was a peaceful, almost magical experience, a reminder of how much joy could be found in shared moments of calm and understanding. As they began to descend the hill, a sudden commotion caught Thunder's attention. A small group of sheep had wandered close to the field, and their movement startled him slightly. He lifted his head, ears back, muscles tensing. Alex noticed immediately and stepped closer, speaking softly and calmly. "It's okay, buddy. I'm here. Nothing will hurt you." Thunder's body relaxed as he focused on Alex, trusting his guidance completely. Slowly, he approached the sheep, observing them with gentle curiosity, and then returned to Alex's side, calm and attentive. The moment was another reminder of the horse's intelligence, awareness, and the extraordinary level of trust he placed in Alex. Throughout the afternoon, Alex and Thunder continued to explore the new areas of the farm. Thunder demonstrated remarkable attentiveness, responding to subtle cues and small gestures, sometimes moving ahead, then returning quickly to Alex's side, as if checking in. They walked along paths lined with trees, crossed shallow streams, and paused occasionally to rest in the shade of a large oak. Each step was a silent conversation, a demonstration of the deep bond they shared. Visitors who had come to watch were captivated, often commenting on how rare it was to see such harmony between human and horse. As the sun began to lower, casting golden light across the fields, Alex decided it was time to head back to the stable. Thunder walked beside him calmly, but his steps were lively, reflecting the joy of the day's adventures. When they reached the stable, Alex led him to the grooming area, brushing his coat carefully and checking his hooves. Thunder responded with quiet patience, nuzzling Alex occasionally, ears flicking forward, eyes bright with contentment. The connection between them was evident in every gentle touch, every small movement, and every soft whinny. After grooming, Alex gave Thunder a special treat, a few apples and a handful of oats. Thunder accepted them gently, looking up at Alex with soft, trusting eyes. It was a simple gesture, but it carried profound meaning. The trust, care, and understanding between them had grown into something that transcended ordinary friendship. It was a bond built on time, patience, and genuine affection, a connection that could be felt by anyone who observed them closely. That evening, as the farm quieted and the last visitors left, Alex led Thunder to a favorite spot near the paddock, a place where they could watch the sunset together. The sky was painted with shades of orange, pink, and purple, the clouds reflecting the last light of the day. Thunder stood calmly beside Alex, ears flicking, eyes soft, yet alert. Alex ran his hand along Thunder's neck, feeling the warmth and strength of the horse beneath his fingers. He whispered softly, "We've had a good day, buddy." "You were amazing." Thunder responded with a gentle nuzzle, as if acknowledging the praise while also reminding Alex that their trust and understanding were mutual. Over the next few days, Alex noticed that Thunder's behavior continued to show signs of intelligence and empathy beyond what most people expected. The horse began anticipating Alex's actions more frequently, lifting his head when Alex reached for equipment, shifting slightly when Alex bent down, or stepping calmly into position before being asked. Thunder's responses were never forced. They were natural, flowing, and intelligent. It was as if he understood Alex's intentions before they were fully expressed. Visitors often marveled at this quiet communication, whispering in awe about the remarkable horse they were witnessing. One day, Alex decided to show Thunder's abilities to a small group of children visiting the farm. The children were hesitant at first, unsure how to approach the horse. Alex knelt down and spoke softly to Thunder. "Be gentle, buddy. Let's show them how friendly you are." Thunder responded immediately, moving slowly toward the children, head low, ears flicking forward. He allowed them to touch his nose, rub his mane gently, and even feed him small treats under Alex's guidance. The children giggled with delight, amazed by the gentle intelligence and awareness of the horse. Thunder responded to every subtle cue, demonstrating patience, calmness, and understanding. By the end of the week, the story of Thunder and Alex had reached far beyond the farm. Local newspapers, social media, and even nearby towns began sharing the story of the chestnut horse who had a favorite guard. People were amazed at the loyalty, intelligence, and emotional sensitivity Thunder displayed. Yet Alex remained humble, always emphasizing that their bond had grown slowly, through daily care, patience, and consistent kindness. He wanted people to understand that this connection was built on respect and empathy, not just training or talent. Thunder, meanwhile, continued to demonstrate his gentle, intelligent nature every day. He followed Alex with quiet loyalty, responded to his gestures with understanding, and offered small signs of affection and trust. The pair became a symbol of what was possible when patience, kindness, and empathy were at the heart of a relationship. Every whinny, nuzzle, and glance conveyed a story of mutual respect, understanding, and deep emotional connection. As the sun set on another beautiful day at the farm, Alex and Thunder stood together near the paddock. The sky was a brilliant canvas of colors, the air filled with the soft sounds of the evening, birds returning to their nests, leaves rustling, and the distant calls of other animals settling down for the night. Alex looked at Thunder and Thunder looked back, ears flicking, eyes soft but attentive. In that quiet moment there was no need for words. The trust, affection, and understanding they shared spoke louder than anything could. It was a bond that had been built slowly, carefully, and lovingly, and it had become something extraordinary. As Alex led Thunder into the stable for the night, he reflected on their journey together. From the first hesitant steps to the deep, unspoken understanding they now shared, it had been a journey of patience, trust, and compassion. Thunder had taught him lessons about empathy, loyalty, and the quiet power of understanding another being. In return, Alex had provided care, guidance, and friendship. Together, they had created a bond that was rare, beautiful, and inspiring, a true story of friendship that transcended words and left a lasting impression on everyone who witnessed it.